I want to thank God for this great opportunity. And my name is Peter Kumar, and I'm here sitting in Charlotte, North Carolina, the United States. And at the moment, I want to appeal to every believer in Australia, every pastor, every church leader, every ministry leader, every kingdom minded business person in the marketplace in Australia, every believer, any kind of ministry you may do in your church, through your church. But I want to appeal to you once again. I want you to understand that you are in a very crucial season. And at this moment, maybe God would want you to receive in your heart and your spirit an aspect of taking back the nation of Australia back to God. Taking back Australia back to God, one soul at a time. One soul at a time. My brother, my sister, yes, I have been visiting your nation from 1997. I've traveled extensively in your nation, and God has always told me Australia, the great Southland, the Spirit of God is moving mightily in your nation. But the Lord has been telling me that Australia is a leadership nation, leading the other nations in the world in terms of revival, in terms of development, in terms of love, in terms of prosperity, and in terms of integrity. And I can go on and on. God has spoken great things to me about your nation. Yes, many prophets have spoken. A mighty man of God called Smith Wigglesworth has spoken so much about revival in your nation. So we need to understand that God is depending on each one of us to take back this glorious nation called Australia back to God. So souls, my brother, my sister, one soul at a time. Now today, we need to understand soul is the most important, most valuable thing both in the eyes of God and in the eyes of the enemy. Because soul has so much of value, Jesus said, yes, you can win the whole world and still lose your soul. So Jesus is equating the value of a soul to the whole world. But in Australia, at the moment, I'm talking on 26th, 26th July 2017, at the moment, millions of souls can be lost or they can be taken back to God. They can be lost or they can be taken back to God. So we need to understand, my brother, my sister, that now is a time for Australia. Now is a time for Australia. So Australian souls have value. Again, I'm directly talking to Australians. Every Australian believer should give the exact value to other Australians, other souls, like their own soul, like their own soul. I meet a lot of Christians. They are very happy about what God is doing in their life. But it becomes so selfish when you think only about feeding your soul, only about protecting your soul, guarding your soul. But every Australian soul is important, equally important in the eyes of God, even in the eyes of the enemy. So to win souls is both a personal responsibility and a corporate responsibility for every Australian believer. Yes, to win souls, a personal responsibility and a corporate responsibility. Revival. Today, everybody talks about revival. I live in the US. I go to many nations, and everybody talks about revival. But yes, revival has to be defined. It has to be defined. There are so many things happening in churches, in movements, in meetings, and my God moves mightily. God moves mightily through many ministries. But ultimately, if we talk about revival, people who walked away from God should return to God. People who walked away from God should return to God. And people who have not connected with God, yes, Peter Kumar is from India, a citizen of New Zealand. living in America, in a country like India, in a country like China, maybe Pakistan, Bangladesh, in so many nations, people have not connected with God through Jesus. So if you talk about revival, the end result for revival has to be defined. People who walked away from God should return to God, and people who have not connected with God should connect with God through Jesus Christ. This is revival, and we should never miss this element. We need a strategy, my brother, my sister. I'm appealing to you. You need a personal strategy. So many people tell me, but we are doing this, we are doing that. Our church is doing this. Yes, every church has a mandate, every church has events, every church has programs, every church has outreaches, every church has missionary efforts. But I'm talking about a personal strategy. My dear Australian believer, my brother, my sister, do you have a personal strategy? We need to develop a personal strategy and a corporate strategy. And then you should be trained. You should be trained to win souls. You should be trained to be part of revival. You should be trained. And we need to set personal and corporate goals. Personal and corporate goals. There must be thousands of churches in Australia. Thousands. Maybe 20,000, 30,000 churches all across Australia. But if every believer takes a personal goal of bringing one person to God through Jesus, just one person to God through Jesus, we are talking about thousands of people turning to God. We need to set a personal goal and a corporate goal. My brother, my sister, I'm once again appealing to every church in Australia, to every pastor, to every ministry, to every kingdom minded business person, and to every believer. Every every person should put their heart, soul, mind, and spirit to turn this nation, Australia, such a glorious nation, back to God. Back to God. My brother, my sister, I've been praying so much for your nation. And the Lord has been revealing to me that the next 2 years are very, very important, very crucial for Australia. Very crucial. Yes, there are so many changes which are coming up. Australia is opening up to so many things. But this is an appeal to the church, to every pastor, to every believer, to every kingdom minded person. So you may say, so Peter Kumar, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? I'm challenging you while I challenge myself. I'm challenging myself, I'm challenging you to develop strategies. Please talk to your leaders, talk to your pastors. Tell them, can we develop a strategy, a personal strategy, and a strategy for the whole church? A strategy for the whole church to step into the community so that every church, every church will actively involve in turning their communities to God. Turning their communities. Yes, people who have walked away from God should return to God. And people who have never committed to God, who have never connected, they should connect with God in a fresh way through the love of God through Jesus Christ. My brother, my sister, please send your strategies to me. You may say, who are you, Peter Kumar? I don't know, but I love Australia. I cry for Australia. Send it to my website. I can share it with other people and share this whole presentation to friends who are involved in in any kind of ministry. Please be careful. This content can be misunderstood by many people. But if you have church people, if you have friends who are crying, who are weeping for revival in Australia, send it to them. Connect with me. I would like to know how God is leading you, how God is leading you towards your personal strategy and your corporate strategy. In less than 2 years, we can turn this nation, Australia, to God. Let's make it happen, my brother, my sister. God bless you. And this is Peter Kumar. Thank you.